Now, Singapore recently announced measures such as higher subsidies to make preschool more affordable and accessible. It has also been building the pipeline of early childhood educators in recent years to support a growing demand for preschool places.
And to share with us more about developments in the early childhood sector, we have Dr. Geraldine Teo-Zuzarte, a fellow at the Early Childhood Development Agency and Centre Director of the Caterpillar's Cove, and Mr Mohammad Aizat, a principal of Mosaic Kindergarten. Thank you both for coming in and chatting with us.
Thank you for having us here.
So firstly, the aim of the recent measures is to make sure every child has a good start, which is wonderful to hear. But why is childhood education so important? And would a child that doesn't get the opportunity to go to a preschool be disadvantaged?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to define what the early childhood years are. I think globally, we see early childhood as from birth up to 8. But in Singapore, we look at early childhood from birth to 6. And there is, research, numerous studies that have been done in the areas of human development, neuroscience, and also the whole idea of what it means in terms of looking at how children grow and develop. So a person that I would like to mention is Harvard University's Jack Sean Cove. He made the assertion that positive early experiences affect the brain architecture. So there's lots of things that talk about it. Even this morning when I was at a conference, our local psychologist, Dr. Mary George, she reminded us so much about how self-esteem, the sense of self, is developed from birth. That the whole idea of the child being, knowing who I am and where I belong, comes from them taking cues from the family, from the community, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, we turn to James Heckman. He is the Nobel laureate prize winner for economics. Talks a lot about how those of them who want to reduce the deficits and strengthen the economy should make significant investments in early childhood. So we already know that, and I think as our PM has stated so clearly, that's the reason why we invest in early childhood. But your question about whether it happens at home or in preschool, I think it's not the place that it happens. It's about whether the children have got positive experiences and people who can facilitate those experiences for young children. I think that's very important, not so much whether it's from home or from school. I think both environments play a very important role.
So Aizat, let's pick up on that. So what role then do preschools play in supporting a child's holistic development in that sense? And how is it important for teachers and parents now to work together?
Well, to put it into perspective, right, some of the children actually come to the childcare centers as early as 7 a.m. in the morning, and they leave as late as 7 p.m. at night. So, and like what Dr. Zuzarte said, by the age of 5, 90% of the child's brain is developed already. So putting this information together, I can't emphasize more how important early childhood educators are contributing to the brain development of the child. Yeah, and also for a healthy home and a center partnership, I think while maintaining a healthy home partnership is key to ensuring that there's healthy early childhood development of the child. And it's not just a teacher's responsibility; it has to have a partnership with the home as well. Yeah.
We're touching on sort of the teacher side of things. We understand that the plan is for the sector to have 20,000 teachers by next year. That's not very far away. How's progress coming along with that?
Well, ECDA released numbers. We have about 18,000 teachers now, so we're a couple thousand away. And I think the push that ECDA is making in its efforts to attract and make early childhood education a profession that is attractive continues and is sustained. So for people who are wanting to come in, the new entrants we call them, there are many different pathways and resources available. Programs like Place and Train, where mid-careers can come in and do the professional training that's needed. There are scholarship and training awards available. For those of us who continue to remain in the industry, there's a myriad of opportunities provided for professional development, for attachments, learning journeys, for example. And the ECDA Fellowship, for example, is a recognition of the pinnacle leaders of the sector, and there are leadership opportunities. So Skills Future is one of the platforms in which maps competencies and skills that early childhood educators need.
But saying that, they do leave, Aizat. So what are some of the challenges that you face in trying to, retain them and also in getting new teachers on board as well?
I think firstly is to dispel the misconceptions that early childhood educators are just about teaching ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. I mean, I don't blame anybody, but even my own parents say, with an engineering degree, why are you going out there to teach ABCs and 1, 2, 3s? ABCs and 1, 2, 3s are just a small part of what encompasses the job of an early childhood educator. And so with the when it comes to future and progression, like what Dr. Zarte has said, the skills framework provides educators a clear path for it so that individuals can pursue their own interests according to their own level of competencies.
Right, indeed. So it sounds like, there is a very bright future here. But thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us. We've been speaking to Dr. Geraldine Teo-Zuzarte, a fellow at the Early Childhood Development Agency and Center Director of the Caterpillar's Cove, and Mr. Mohammad Aizat, Principal of Mosaic Kindergarten.